Yeah, that's a great question. Ultimately, I think the price of oil currently is expecting the Strait to open reasonably soon. And even should that be the case, we're going to see a 3 to 6 month impact on the oil
Yeah.
price and likely a more extended impact on the gas price. So I think the UK needs to hunker down for the longer term and be realistic about even how that simple
Okay.
expectation is going to play through.
Well said. I thought you'd go there. If we're going to hunker down, whether in Topeka or in, it's like the River Tyne. I can't pronounce it. Is it Thames or Thames?
We'll go Thames.
Thames. Okay,
Thames,
thank you.
yeah.
Nailed that. Well, you confuse it with Newport, Rhode Island. Ellen, I look at the duration of this price agony, and it's like we better get used to it. How do the governments help us get used to it?
Yeah, I mean, in the UK here, we've seen a significant push towards renewables, and I know that's obviously different from the US. You've seen that, and then it's actually come off quite materially. But fundamentally, the world needs to wean itself oil and gas, specifically oil and gas that comes from more volatile regions. Because that is going to be ongoing, creating ongoing uncertainty at a global level. We obviously saw what happened in Ukraine. That created some huge spikes for the gas market specifically. What's going on now in the Middle East is creating spikes across gas and many, crude and refined products, fertilizers, etc. as well. So we have to get used to volatility and we have to plan for that volatility and use generation techniques in a different way to make sure we're actually weaning ourselves off that dependence on oil. Clearly, that's not the direction that the US has gone, but certainly for us in Northern Europe and for us specifically in the UK, where we've got lots of access to renewable energy around our coastal regions, for example, that's a very sensible way for us to go.
So, Ellen, is there a new risk premium put into the Mideast oil here? Because the Strait of Hormuz, even if it is open, it really isn't open relative to pre-war conditions. Should we get used to a Gulf region premium in oil coming out of that part of the world?
Well, I mean, we may have just the reality of an actual premium going on with the various different tolls that may be charged by Iran going forwards. It's very hard to see a strait that goes back to any kind of normality, given that Iran has now exerted that level of control over the strait. So we might actually have just the direct cost premium. And there will just be a premium just because of the uncertainty that flows through there. And given the supply side is now so constrained with not just the flow through the strait, but the structural damage, the infrastructure damage that's happened to refineries and pipelines and all the rest that's impacting there, we will see premia effectively coming through that region going forwards. I think that's absolutely right.
Ellen,
Interestingly, as I say, it feels like I know people will be looking at that oil price feeling very uncomfortable. It feels like that the risk is actually
right.
upside risk rather than downside risk, given the assumption is baked in that the strait will reopen.
Ellen, if we're lucky in America, we get to Edinburgh. OMG, it's beautiful. I've never
That's
been
where
there.
I'm from. I was
Oh,
born in Edinburgh.
you were born in Edinburgh.
Yes.
I've never been there when the wind wasn't horizontal and 50 miles an hour. I had to hide in the Balmoral bar and survive somehow. So I go north and then I go up to St. Andrews,
Nice.
which is now taken over completely by Americans.
Yes.
Everybody knows this, including Ellen. And then, Ellen, I go even farther north where no American has ever been, Aberdeen, and I look out on the North Sea and there's a debate about drilling more oil. Why is the United Kingdom even having a debate? Just drill the oil in the North Sea. Are they going to do that?
It's a very, very good question, and clearly it's a very controversial topic
Yeah,
in the UK. This crisis has effectively hardened the view that actually we just need to get on with it. For me, it boils down to a very simple, logical question. Does the UK need oil now and for the
yeah.
next 20 years? 100%. And does it therefore make sense to import oil that has a greater carbon footprint than the stuff we can produce in our own North Sea? And if you do that, does it make sense to give the
Right.
jobs away to other countries? It just, for me, it doesn't make logical sense. And even if you effectively electrify and decarbonize your energy system, there is still a significant need for oil-based products in manufacturing, in chemical production, in medicines, etc. So, for me, it's a relatively straightforward debate, and
Right.
we will get there. We'll have to get there because this Iran crisis has almost backed us into a corner.